Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, all Edu leaders joining us from different parts of the world. I'm really thankful to you, and I'm really thankful to Sahasra. She has agreed to be the host of the session. She's a 12th grader from Delhi Public School, Bangalore East. Over to you, Sahasra.
Good morning to all our esteemed panelists, educators, and viewers from across the globe. My name is Sahasra Ammineni, a proud 12th grader at Delhi Public School, Bangalore East. And it is my absolute honor to host this exciting and insightful panel discussion organized by EDUTV, with millions of viewers from 28 countries tuning in. Today, we are here to discuss a topic that is incredibly relevant in modern education: the role of experiential learning in school students. Experiential learning goes beyond textbooks. It is about engaging students in the real world experiences, fostering critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving skills. We are privileged to have a distinguished group of panelists who are the forefront of transforming education. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Goutam Sarkar, Principal of Aditya Birla Vani Bharti, Hooghly, West Bengal; Mrs. Madhu Khanna, Principal of Global Indian International School, Tokyo, Japan; Dr. Dheeraj Mehrotra, Regional Head of GEMS Education, India; Dr. S. Prashant Vasudev, Principal of Gulf Indian School, Kuwait; Dr. Rupali Dhamdhare, Director, Trinity International School, Pune; and Mr. Yudhishter Puran Singh, Director of Dehradun Hills Academy, Dehradun. Each of these leaders bring a unique perspective on how experiential learning can reshape education to better prepare students for the future. Before we dive into the discussion, I'd like to extend a special thanks to EduTV, a platform with a global reach viewed by millions across 28 countries, for consistently bringing relevant and thought-provoking educational content to the world. EduTV's dedication to enhancing the educational experience and empowering the students, educators alike is truly commendable. With that, let's begin a discussion. I would like to invite each panelist to share their thoughts on how experiential learning has impacted students in the school for each 2 minutes. I would like Ms. Madhu Khanna to please start.
Thank you, Sahasra, and thank you, EduTV, for giving me this opportunity. So, as you know, that I am based out of Tokyo at present. So, I would like to share my a little bit of my personal experience as to how experiential learning has been implemented in whatever schools I have taught and have headed. So, in India, in Lucknow, when I founded one of the Sahasra, I also founded one of the DPS schools in Lucknow. So we have that connect. So this school started by introducing experiential learning approaches across subjects, basically encouraging teachers to move beyond textbooks. And I'm talking about, let's say, 15, 16 years ago. And at that time, if you've heard of project-based learning, so engaging students with project-based learning and real-life case studies. So when, after a few years, when I transitioned to GIS Singapore, and Singapore being, a red dot, a small nation with a lot of focus on educational excellence, this initiative further was, strengthened by leading transdisciplinary projects that connected different subject areas in a meaningful way. For instance, science and art connect together, eco-friendly homes, combining creativity with engineering principles, etc. And a lot of collaborative projects came up where students from different classes work together on city planning challenges, planning cities for different countries, and participating in how a city would better be sustainable. Then not only academic content, but also it helped in teamwork, leadership, and critical thinking, which are definitely part of the 21st century learning skills. Then the focus doesn't stop there, because we, as you may be aware, or my fellow educators are aware, that experiential learning is like fostering real world connections. So the focus of not just connecting and experiencing thing, but also implementing it to ensure it is not confined in the classrooms. So partnering with local industries, NGOs, and universities, connecting students to professionals in various world was another step in experiential learning. And when I moved on to Tokyo, so one of the impactful projects which I saw was students working on environmental experts to create sustainable water systems. And their designs were not only created but rooted in the real life impact, teaching them to see beyond schoolwork. And here in Tokyo, I'll share some examples, like even kindergarten children do urban farming. And so when urban farming or any SDG goals are connected to the learning of the students, it automatically becomes an experience for experiential learning. So global collaboration projects with students across different countries is making this a reality. If I have exceeded my 2 minutes, I will just conclude by saying that this platform gives us a way to share that how schools can be encouraged and educators continue to learn, to innovate and invest in experiential learning so that students can navigate the unknown future confidently. As Benjamin Franklin put in, that teach me, if you need to teach me, I need to experience it. So with this, thank you so much. And I would look forward to hearing from my other fellow educationists as well.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I would like Mr. Goutam Sarkar to take over.
Thank you, Sahasra. Am I audible to all of you? Yeah.
Very
Good
much,
morning.
sir.
Yeah, good morning to all of you. Yes, before I start telling, because we educators, we always start with our experience. Now, this experiential learning, one major change which we observe as an educator in our students, they are becoming, you can say, more and more self-disciplined. Like that is a huge different shift. Like previously, when we used to teach in a class, like and more of theory, we found that when we are taking them out, we are giving them, providing them experiential experience of doing something directly through them. Now they are becoming more and more self-disciplined. Now, why this is becoming? This my observation is that key, because now they are getting things more relatable to the students. Like suppose if we take them for a robotics lab, they exactly know that what this particular session is going to do. And this particular robots are going to help them for doing this particular things. Similarly, the effectiveness of teaching is now much better with this experiences which we are providing. Like they are becoming more critical thinker. Like they will come up with some problems which as an educator we may not mention or we forgot to mention, but they will mention those things and they will come up with a solution also. And through this, they can actually link the theory to the practice. See, I'm not saying that every subject, every unit can be taught through experience, but it is true that every theory must have a background of practical or in-hand experience. Like suppose once a student is, suppose somebody will learn bicycle riding, he or she will never forget it because there's an experiential learning, bicycle riding. The same thing in our school. In higher classes, the practicals, lab, everything was there. But in junior classes, previously, we don't have that much of experiential learning system was there in our school. But after this NEP, we introduced, and now we found a huge shift of understanding in small kids. Like previously, certain things, I'm talking small kids means up to class 7 or 8, because in the CBSE curriculum, we generally take them in the laboratory 9 onwards seriously. Before that, it's just like a visit to the lab, or there was no curriculum as such. But 9 onwards, we had this in our curriculum. But now with this NEP, when we take them for any experience means we take them to the historical place, we show them to do certain practicals, even within our campus, we give them certain experience. So this is what actually I can say, that this particular role of experiential learning is something which helped the students to understand, to learn in their own pace. There is no time-bound thing. There is no, suppose a person who learned driving a car in 2 days or 4 days, we don't need to differentiate them by their duration of learning. We will only evaluate them as an end result, how good driver they are. This is what we are actually doing. And this is you can say, the experiential learning is playing a very vital role in the entire education system, especially in schools and you can say early schooling, like from class, absolutely from BB1 to class 8 or 9. And apart from practical, apart from science and maths, we are having practicals for other subjects too. I think 2 minutes are okay, or I can continue. Sahasra?
You can continue for a little more, sir.
Yeah, so that is the difference. That is the difference which we are now actually finding. Like previously, everything was more of theory based. Now we are providing them more and more experience, and every experience is a learning. So experiential learning is every experience they are teaching us something new, and which we are not going to forget so easily if we practice them in our life. And in other way, we can say this experiential learning is completing the whole cycle, like the theory, then the practical, then critical thinking, then implementation. And once you implement whatever you learn, you will never forget. So that is the beauty of this experiential learning, and it's a special role because our main objective is to impart education, to impart knowledge, which will stay with them, and that can stay only through experiential or experience, which they will get while doing things by them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. It was a great speech. I request Dr. S. Prashant Vasudev to take over.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sahasra, and thank you, EDUTV, for inviting me to this platform. I will keep my analysis more hands-on. As Mr. Goutam Sarkar said, experiential learning is all about sharing real-life experiences. So that is what I'll be sharing with you all. As much as we acknowledge the fact that experiential learning today is a pedagogical approach that emphasizes learning through direct experience, reflection, active engagement of students, collaboration, self-direction, initiative, and we can go on with as many adverbs as we want to. As I said, I'll share a few experiences wherein I was myself involved with some students, which brought me to the conclusion that not only is experiential learning a fascinating exercise in the 21st century, but it is one that is here to stay and pave the way for many scholars in the years to come to share their experiences with others. I would begin my analysis, when I was on a round recently, I entered into class 4, wherein I came across a student who asked this question to the teacher: "Ma'am, could you explain the logic behind an aircraft taking off and an aircraft landing?" Just imagine, this question was asked by a class 4 student. What did the teacher say? We will leave that for some other day to be discussed. But that is something which I really appreciated, because that really came from the experience with the child had while flying. The same child expressed his opinion that according to him, the sky is orange. So this thing was, why not? Why don't we accept that? Because maybe he must have seen the sky while flying during dawn or twilight, evening time. So the child must have seen the sky as orange. That was his experience, which he shared. Similarly, when we send students to other Gulf nations, particularly UAE, you come across situations wherein you do not require passports or any other document while going through the immigration check. You just need to pass through a machine, and that machine scans your eyes and other facial expressions, and you're done. you are not required to present any kind of documents to authenticate yourself. I'm talking about AI here, but nevertheless, that constitutes an important ingredient of experiential learning these days. Another experience that I would highlight is when my students at the under 12 and under 14 level here in Kuwait, because Kuwait Cricket Association is a very strong body, they go and they experience certain things which their coaches would have taught them. Say, for example, how does the ball swing conventionally? How does reverse swing take place? But these flat wickets here in Kuwait do not allow them to experience what they were taught by their coaches. So they came and asked me, being an under 16 player myself, who represented Delhi, they came and asked me, sir, whatever concepts we were taught in terms of the seam hitting the deck and then the ball swirling in terms of reverse swinging, nothing was on display. What did I tell them? Again, is something which we leave for another day. Another example that I would give is a ComQuest festival that we recently had for Commerce Department, wherein we had a segment called Best Manager, wherein different situations were thrown at the commerce students, and accordingly, it was a test of their leadership. How would they react differently to different challenges being thrown at them? So that was another experience wherein students came up with different answers according to what they felt were appropriate, depending on the situation that they were allowed to or asked to handle. Long ago, when I was at the helm of affairs at Delhi Public School, Aurangabad, I had the privilege of introducing a science park just to inculcate scientific temperament in the students, wherein we had gadgets of various kinds, certain gadgets which I had seen only in books. So even for me, it was a hands-on experience for the very first time. So these are some of the experiences that I have personally encountered, which adds a lot of wings and value to the concept that has already been discussed by a lot of my distinguished colleagues here today. I think this is how we need to view experiential learning, as something which creates a concept rather which creates global and cultural awareness, which builds a lot of adaptability and resilience among the learners. I can be a learner, my students can be learners as well. So age is no bar there for learning. Most importantly, in my opinion, out of all the examples that I've quoted, experiential learning enables self-direction and self-initiative. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I would like Dr. Rupali Dhamdhare to take over.
Thank you so much, dear, and I thank EDUTV for giving us the opportunity to be on this platform. And yes, experiential learning we are talking about here, but I don't think experiential learning has been new to us. As Indians, we've always been learning through doing. And if we look at the way we learned in the yesteryears, I think that was the time when we actually did things and we learned a lot of things in the pretext of while doing them. So this is just a new way of us putting the things together. As time we passed on, what happened is we forgot what we were doing as in experience, and we started focusing a little more on the academic and just the theory and the academic part of the education system. But NEP is a good reminder, taking us back to our times, taking us from giving us a reminder from where we came from. So even the experience of celebrating Mud Day on the 29th of April, wherein the tiny, the children actually get together, they have a mud kitchen, they do mud painting and things like that. So that is the kind of experience that is very, very essential for the children at that age group. As they grow older, obviously getting them into different experiences where they will actually do things with their hands, and they will learn, like all my colleagues said. Yes, when we do things, when we with us longer, but what we need to understand here is experience just does not happen in the classroom or in the school, or when they're doing the activities or they are not doing the activities or things. Experience happens right from the time we are getting into this, or even before we are getting into this world. There is we do experience the sound and the kind of things that happen to us in the mother's womb as well. So experience starts from that time for us, and I think it stays with us till our last breath. So yes, that is what we are talking about. Not just learning happening in school, but learning happening throughout life is experiential learning. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now I'd like Mr. Yudhishter Puran Singh to take over.
Good morning. Namaste to everybody, to my esteemed panelists, and
Puran
thank you,
Singh to
Pranav.
take over.
Thank you, Pranav and EDUTV for having us all and talk about experiential learning. The principal of Trinity School. I'm sorry, ma'am, I didn't get your name, but I think what you stated. I mean, experiential learning is a very old concept. I mean, in our culture, everything that we learned. I mean, the Gurukul system, if we talk about, it was all about the students aping their gurus and learning from them, right from, I mean, how to eat, what to eat, how to cook, how to, I mean, how to literally live, how to live life. And that was the whole idea of the ancient Gurukul system. So rightly said. And I think in past 15, 20 years, 30 years probably, we have moved away from it, and we've moved towards academic side of things. And that is where probably I feel our kids have lost out on more than they have gained, because the experiences that we all have learned in this, I mean, amongst all of us, is the reason why we are here sitting, because the experiences are priceless. I mean, one cannot think of, leading a life today without having the experiences of yesteryears that we have. I mean, right from, how do we handle a relationship? How do we take on the responsibility? How do we manage the timeline? How do we manage situations which we are not ready for? So all these are part of experiential learning, and that is precisely, what we at Dehradun Academy throw a lot of emphasis on. I have a student from Delhi. She's very quiet, very shy, and academically not so bright, maybe a 60% or a max 70%. But she's picking up a hobby. I mean, we're doing an art project with the government of Uttarakhand towards reviving John Sari culture and the Uttarakhand culture. And she's heading that project in 8th class. I mean, so suddenly she is feeling proud of herself, and she's getting to understand that, yes, I mean, there's life beyond academics. And also, it is helping her in academics as well, because when she gets that confidence, automatically it is resulting in her performing better in the classroom. So experiential learning will aid the whole project of not only preparing you for life, but also will help you in becoming a better student and scoring better grades, although the grades is not really a priority, to be very honest. And Dr. Vasudev touched upon reflections. Reflections are very important. And for each one of us, no matter how worldly wise we may be, at the end of the day, it is very important that we reflect upon how the day conspired. I mean, what did we learn, and how can we become better versions of ourselves? And I think as students and as educators, I think the best thing that we can teach our kids is give them that freedom, let them reflect upon things, and let us not narrow their approach, and let us not put them look at them at a narrow, from a smaller prism and say, okay, this means this. Let them express themselves, and the more they'll express themselves, the better prepared they will be to take on the challenges. Because at the end of the day, experiential learning is a way of life. I mean, you experience things at any stage of life, and what you do with what you learn is what you become eventually in the end. So, and Madhu ma'am touched upon, that's the beauty of being the last panelist, because then you can really touch upon various things that other people have touched upon. Environmental sustainability collaboration projects. What is education? Education is working together, collaborating, not competition. I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say, at least in India, we look at competition, probably we give it more priority. But honestly, the world that we are living in, collaboration is more the need of the hour than competition. We are competing with everybody left, right, and center. But I think how many of us are collaborating, that is the question. And I think with experiences, I mean, we can have students from, I mean, Tokyo sharing their experiences of what they did, what they learned. And that is what we at Dehradun Academy are working with. And we are working with EDUTV to form a forum wherein we can have like-minded schools who look at each other as possible, I mean, as possible incubation centers wherein we all work together. We put across our thoughts to everybody, and we can have exchange program, whether it's virtual exchange program, and we can share what we have learned with each other without that competitive spirit, with more of a spirit of learning with each other. And when we do that, then we are actually preparing our kids for the real world. Because in the real world, it is all about working with people. You could be the CEO of a company, you could be heading a school, like many of us are heading a school. I mean, at the end of the day, what will work will be how well our people skills will be. And people skills are greatly, aided with experiences, because nothing teaches you more in life than experiences. And my young host, Sahasra, if I have got your name, I've got your name correct. What you are doing is an experience in itself. You are sitting with, I mean, we are sitting with 4, 5 oldies who are from the education domain, and you are hosting, you're moderating this thing. If you keep on doing this for the next couple of years, and if you enroll yourself for a mass comm career, I mean, your CV and your confidence will be next level. Let's all come together and let's all be open to throwing so many things at our students. Let them experience, let them enjoy, and let's get that curiosity back in them, that there should be something कि look forward to, कि हाँ अगले दिन स्कूल जाएंगे तो कुछ हम देखेंगे जिससे हमको प्रेरणा मिलेगी, and that will motivate us, and that will make, trust me, all our jobs easier when the child in the classroom is motivated and curious. Yes, I want to know what Dr. Vasudev wants to teach me. So whether it's a cricket concept of ball not swinging or seaming, I mean, the whole idea is to engage the child and get him to share experiences. And there are no right or wrong experiences. Every experience is priceless, because we cannot grade them. Experience A plus, B plus, C plus. Let's look at experience. All experiences are A plus, because at the end of the day, every experience will have some takeaway. And if we reflect upon it, we'll end up as better people.
Thank you, sir. Now I'd like Dheeraj Mehrotra to express his view and conclude the session.
Okay, thank you so much. And it was a pleasure listening to each one of you. And I'm really excited to share my conclusion, the final views, what each of you have deliberated so nicely and practically. Well, the term experiential learning, when we talk about it as a part of an implementation, I believe as an educator that it is the practice one experiences as a part of being a part of it. For example, they go to different labs, they perform experiments. This is life experiment. This is the life learning. We tend to tell our children that the sky is blue. Somebody talked about different color. Obviously, when they go through the flight and then they get to know, and there's the curiosity among the children which comes through, and they have one opportunity in the classroom to ask their teachers of why it is so. So it's high time that we start telling our children not only that the sky is blue, but why the sky is blue, and let them prosper into that environment about bridging the gap between the theory and the practice. And that is the real value what we need to implement in schools, about focusing heavily on practical as well as the theoretical knowledge, and above all, applying the concepts in real world context, not only telling them about A for apple, B for boy, C for cat, for it is now Android, BlackBerry, and cloud as a new definition, but addressing the problem of the students' disengagement otherwise in the classroom will obviously come when we engage them in the class through an experiential format. And that talks about the very real deliberation which I have shared in one of my books, Experiential Learning for Educators. And I believe that developing this format talks about critical 21st century skills as well, as CBSE has integrated it, and also for the CISE and the IB boards, about how best they are entertained about the practice they learn as a part of theory. And that improves information retention, as so many people talked about. It also discusses about how to bridge the skills gap, often cited by the peer group, that yes, I got to know about it and my teacher discussed in the classroom. And today we know what the meaning of thrust is, because the teacher who brought the bucket, the water-filled bucket in the classroom, could tell us the meaning of the thrust and the particular experiment. It is not only that they experience out of their own life cycle, but also about in the classroom, which probably will ease their comfort of understanding better. And also it enhances, experiential learning enhances social emotional learning, which probably we are discussing in some format or the other. And of course, it makes learning relevant and meaningful. Let me tell you very frankly, meaningful is what ultimately they aim at, bringing it as a life skill. Oh, I learned about it. My teacher the other day told me, and I implemented it right with the rapidly changing world. And of course, the child is able to format a feedback out of it, and it revitalizes the teaching and the learning process. So I believe, yes, it is high time for all of us to implement the format of experiential learning. As learners, we, the educators, the mentors, need to look forward to change the strategy of teaching and open to new avenues of how through the online portals or through the AI integration, as my colleague mentioned, that how the face recognition happens and how that the Siri and the Alexa respond to our communication, that how best we are imparting ourselves to the tech world and how we are incorporating through experience about communicating with a device as in real sense communicating during an interview or in a classroom scenario where we are trying to discuss question answer session as well. But the fact is that the children now demand our teachers to be proactive, be a party, and produce the results just like the devices do. So I believe we need to pull up our socks, because to gather momentum of their satisfaction in the classroom, we have to be at par with the robots. And that way, the intelligence need to be delivered in the best possible manner. Thank you so very much. God bless each one of us.
Thank you to all our panelists for sharing such valuable insights into the role of experiential learning in school students. I want to express my gratitude to Mr. Goutam Sarkar, Mrs. Madhu Khanna, Dr. Dheeraj Mehrotra, Dr. S. Prashant Vasudev, and Mr. Yudhishter Puran Singh, and Dr. Rupali Dhamdhare for their time, passion, and expertise today. Your contribution and education are inspiring, and we are fortunate to have learned from your experiences. A special thank you to EDUTV for organizing this panel discussion and providing a global platform that reaches millions of viewers across 28 countries, including educators, students, and parents. Your commitment to making education more accessible and relevant through programs like this is invaluable. On behalf of all of us here at EDUTV and myself, Sahasra Ammineni, it has been an honor to be a part of this meaningful conversation. Thank you to our viewers for joining us today. Let's continue to explore innovative ways to enrich the learning experience of students worldwide. Have a great day ahead.